Hi guys, I'm Amber and this is Mom's New Identity. If you're here, thank you so much for tuning in. If you didn't get a chance to check out my last YouTube video about why I started this channel, a little bit of my background, go ahead and click that link below. I've linked it in the description. You can check that out there. Also, if you're not already, you can follow me on socials. My name is pretty much the same across all of the platforms at moms.new.identity. Pinterest is a little bit different. I don't have the periods in between. It's just Mom's New Identity altogether. But again, I'll link those down below if you want to go ahead and follow me on socials. I really wanted to take this time today in this YouTube video to talk about two things that really just changed the game for me when it came to my mental health, my journey of healing, self-discovery, and overall just being able to help me enjoy motherhood that much more. Before I get started, I just want to put this disclaimer out that my journey is obviously unique to me. I'm not a therapist, okay? I'm not a professional. So everything I share in this video is really meant to, I guess, just shine a light on what a journey of healing and self-discovery can look like, or give you ideas or inspire you to pursue your own journey. And because we're all different, because we come from different places, we have different cultural backgrounds, different environments. Obviously, I don't want you to take everything that I talk about as factual and this is it, that there's no other alternative outside of this. So before I continue, again, I just want to remind you to go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit that little bell because you'll get notifications whenever I post. And also stay tuned till the end of the video because I'm going to be sharing with you guys what I plan on discussing next week. Okay, getting into it. Two things that totally changed the game for me when it came to my motherhood journey, my healing, and self-discovery journey. The first thing was I had to learn that it's okay to take a break and give myself a break, whether it be from my responsibilities on the household or from my children. And people who don't have kids don't always understand this. And my hope is that if you're watching this and you don't have children, then you can start to understand why this is important for mothers and why we have to, as a society, stop telling mothers that taking a break from their kids makes them selfish or makes them a bad mom, because it really doesn't. When I realized that taking a break, whether it be from household responsibilities or really just from my kids, was necessary for my mental health, that was huge. Because as I mentioned in my first video, productivity was very much tied to my value. Like, I used to believe, and even sometimes I still struggle with that belief, that if I wasn't doing something or getting all of these things done, then I was lazy or I was incompetent or I wasn't valuable. If I wasn't taking care of everybody else around me, that I wasn't a good mother or a good spouse. And when I decided to prioritize my mental health in a way that looked like saying, you know what, I'm not going to worry about the chores today. I'm not going to worry about the house today. And that's really hard for me because if you know me personally, I'm a neat freak. And that's probably because I was trained from a young age to like make sure the house was spotless. But that's another story for another day. So I get tremendous anxiety when there's clutter. Now, I just personally believe that if you're in a cluttered environment, that alone is really going to clutter your mind as well. So there's definitely a lot of mental health benefits in decluttering, straightening up your environment. I think personally, I think it is truly an extension of your mental health, but there's a thin line between making sure that your environment creates peace in your mind and burning yourself out, trying to make sure everything is perfect. The house is clean, the laundry's always done, the dishes are always done, the toys are always cleaned up. Like that, there's a very thin line there. And when I started to allow myself, let's put it that way, when I started to allow myself to let those things go, because I don't have a spouse that's like, why isn't the house clean? Why aren't the dishes done? Because he cleans too. So, quick pro tip, if you don't have a partner that cleans up after themselves or takes initiative to do that, might need to have a conversation. But the fact of the matter is, he knows I have a lot on my plate. He knows that I'm here constantly with the kids. And I know that he would rather me be present and pouring into our children than make sure all of his laundry is done. Okay. That was a game changer. Saying, you know what? That's not important. My kids come first. The laundry can wait. The emails can wait. The content creation can wait. Taking an entire day off from social media once a week, that as a content creator, because content creation is a job. I know it probably doesn't seem like it when you're just watching a 15-second video, but there's a lot of work behind the scenes that people aren't aware of. So taking a break from social media and allowing myself to not stress myself out about, oh, I got to be posting every day of every minute. I just had to sometimes put my freaking phone down away from me and just play with my kids, get into their world, play blocks with them. And the joy on my daughter's face when I play and get into her world and interact with her, it just fills me up. So allowing myself to just abandon the responsibilities for at the very least like 30 minutes and just be 100% present, that has been huge in being able to enjoy my kids. Now, as far as taking a break, I've kind of touched on taking a break from responsibilities, taking a break from your kids. That is something else, because if you're a mother, you know that mom guilt is a very, very real thing. Like, especially if you had a challenging relationship with your own mother, taking a break from your child can feel like you have this expectation in your mind of what a mom should look like because you saw all the things that maybe your mother didn't do that you wish you would have done. And no fault or disrespect to those mothers who couldn't be present for their kids or maybe weren't the best possible mom to their kids because they were probably struggling with their own issues too. That was a contributing factor to me feeling like I need to be ever present with my children. I need to be with them constantly, 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 like every second of every day. But one day I just decided, you know what? Once a week, because I stay home with the kids, so I'm with them like almost 24/7. Once a week, I'm gonna take maybe 1 to 2 hours to just do something for me. And this was actually something that was recommended to me by my first therapist. I've since changed therapists, but just take time to do something that brings you joy. Like no responsibilities, not something that's productive. Like do something that you enjoy. And now every single week, I take an hour to 2 hours to myself. My husband takes care of the kids, and I do whatever I feel like. If I want to go get my nails done, I'll go do that. Or if I want to just go spend some time just like brainstorming ideas and like journaling and getting into like a creative space during that time, I'll do that. At one point, I just literally did like a 30-minute meditation and did some shadow work. I did that one time. But the thing is, that time was dedicated for me to explore and date myself, if that's what you want to call it, and just get to know me. Who am I? What do I want for my life? What plans do I have? What are the things that bring me joy? What do I enjoy doing? And every single time, I tell you what, every single time I come back from that time, I am super refreshed. I am able to pour back into my children because I filled up my own cup. So that is the first thing, that it is okay to take a break from your responsibilities or from your kids because you need it. You deserve it. Doesn't matter if you stay at home with your kids or if you're working full time. You deserve that. And however, whatever you got to do to make that happen, really think about the people in your life that when you have asked them for something, they come through. Think about those people. Whatever you can do, exercise every single resource possible and set that boundary and say, listen, to your partner, to your, your spouse, maybe a close relative, your parents, or whoever that can come through to help you get that time in. You deserve it and you need it. Okay. The next thing that changed the game for me was being able and willing to ask for and receive help. Now, the receiving part I want to emphasize because yes, you can ask for help, but the receiving part for me was really hard because I have, or I should say, still have at times trust issues. Because of childhood trauma, I have this hyper independence. And if you're curious, you can always, Google this and what this is. But basically, it's a trauma response where you just try to do everything because in childhood, at one point, you could not count on people to show up for you when you really needed them, at least your caregivers, you know, parents, mothers, fathers, whatever. And so it creates this like hyper independence where, I don't need anybody else. I can take care of myself. And that is the dumbest thing that you could tell yourself because you can't. And I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm saying that thinking that is dumb because I've thought that I got to do it because I know how to do it the best and I don't need anybody else because they don't know how to do it as well as me. I can't trust them. You have to give people the opportunity to show up for you. You do. You have to give people the opportunity to show up for you. And I know it's hard. It's scary because the people that were closest to you that needed to show up for you didn't, maybe in your life, and it's scary. But being able to count on someone 75 to 80% of the time is a whole lot better than 0% of the time. Now, asking for help, I always struggle with that too because just like I mentioned here, I know how to do it best. I'm a control freak. And it took me a while, but realizing that control was just my fear. The need to control everything around me, my schedule, my meals, my day, everything like that. All of those things really just came out of a place of fear. Being afraid to ask for help was something that I had to overcome. And not only was it coming from a place of I'm the one that knows how to do this the best, there was also this sense of deep-rooted belief. Not really sure where it comes from, but just this belief that if I had to ask for help, I was failing, that I wasn't good enough. And you think about how often in your life you have maybe asked for help and the response that you received was like, well, why do you need the help? Why can't you just do it yourself? Because so many of us women just do it all and we just do it ourselves. And that's got to stop because we're not superhuman. We're human. And we have a breaking point. And the thing that breaks my heart too is that maternal suicide rates are starting to increase significantly in the United States because we are struggling. We're fighting for our lives. Literally, we're fighting for our lives. And to be told that that we don't deserve help, that we shouldn't be asking because we should just be able to do it all. Well, I didn't have any help and I got through it. No, no, that's not okay. That's not okay to say that to a mother anymore. Because one, we're living in a very different world today than 20 years ago. Mothers are carrying so much more responsibilities now that so many of us have to be in the workforce because we can't afford to not be. A lot of us can't afford to not be in the workplace or making some sort of money or creating some sort of side hustle. And people who tell you that, please know it's just a projection. It is a projection of their own anger and frustration and resentment of not having help that they deserved as mothers. In my experience, recently, my dad has had the time on his hands to be able to come and be here with me when I needed help with the kids. He is here probably half the week. And you know what's crazy is that sometimes I feel ashamed of having him here to help me. But He's more than happy to be here. He has offered to be here. And I have told him time and time again, I gotta figure this out for myself. Like I can, but that's the thing. That's again that feeling of like, oh, if I don't do it all by myself, then I'm not good enough. And that's just not true. Why do you think that, they say, oh, it takes a village? It's true. It takes a village. But why is it okay to tell people, oh, it takes a village, and then turn around and shame them if they have a village or they find a village? Like what? Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. And women's mental health issues and women's issues were not as important 20 years ago. Like, we have to stand up as women, as mothers, and say, enough is enough. It's time that we stop treating mothers like second class citizens, because we're not. We're literally the whole reason for the entire population on earth. Okay. In summary, two things that really changed the game for me was being willing and able to take a break, whether it be from responsibilities or for my kids. And two, asking and receiving help when it's available. And my son is crying, so I gotta get going. But mom duty calls. So you might pick up on him a little bit, but I have a special guest appearance. So I hope that me sharing this message with you inspired you to start prioritizing yourself in that way, and taking a break and asking for help and receiving help, and not feeling shame in that, and not feeling like you're a failure or not good enough if you need help, because it does take a village. Stay tuned, because next week I'm actually going to share my experience with therapy. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you next week on my next YouTube video, but until next time, see you later. Okay, bye-bye.